What's up, G-Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G-Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out episode. It's been a while. Listen, we've had a lot of technical difficulties, but finally we got on. It is me, G1, and G95. Matt, what's up, my brother?
How's it going? Good to be back.
Good to be back. Yeah, kind of, right? Jesus, we just had like a half hour worth of technical difficulties, but here we are on the Geek Out, and we're ready to talk about some shit. There's a bunch of things to talk about. We're going to try to bring it down and narrow it down to very little. We're going to do the Rampage review, though. We will review Rampage in this podcast. We're also going to talk about the Solo trailer that just dropped last Sunday, and we're also going to talk about, oh my God, that Teen Titans live action show on TNT, TBS, whatever, the picture that was put out this week of Raven, Beast Boy, and oh my God, Starfire. So before let's just jump right into it before we run out of speaker time once again. So hey, Matt, first things first. Let's talk about that Star Wars trailer, that Solo trailer that dropped last Sunday. While I was watching WrestleMania, this trailer dropped, and your thoughts?
Well, we got a little bit of plot detail finally. I mean, as much as they can give in a trailer without giving too much away. Star Wars usually does a pretty good job of not spoiling too much of the plot in the trailers. But I don't know, with each new shot of footage, I guess, or new clip of footage I see, I'm getting more and more excited for it. Like, I was very anti-Solo before, and now I'm very optimistic about it. It looks pretty good.
Wow, I'm glad you think that way. I really am, because I watched the trailer again today for the second time. I watched it last week Sunday, but like I said, that was WrestleMania Sunday. I caught it after WrestleMania. I didn't even know it dropped, and I was a little bit more than drunk. Okay, let's put it that way. I was a little bit over the edge there. When I watched it, I was like, okay, and then I didn't watch it again at all up until today, right before I got on to do this podcast. I watched it with my wife, and let me tell you something she said that kind of smacked me in the face. Midway through that trailer, she said, "This does nothing for me, it's boring." And I'm like, okay, maybe it's because she's used to, the Star Wars proper story. Because maybe she doesn't care about Han Solo's origin, like a lot of people, myself included. I don't know, but I kind of felt her. I felt it. I felt the same way. I just, I'm going to see this movie regardless because it's Star Wars, but this movie really has to convince me that it was worth telling. This story was worth telling. And from the trailers, I don't know. I still don't believe we needed this particular story in the Star Wars universe. I'm perfectly fine with what we got in A New Hope. To me, that is Han's origin story. So we'll see. I mean, I'm open to it, but I'm not like going crazy about it.
No, it's definitely not a story worth telling necessarily. Not everybody's origins need to be deeply explained, but for nothing else, we get expanded lore, and that's cool.
I get that. I don't need to see the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
No. I didn't mean that, but just, more world building, more people's lives outside of our mains. Even though this is Han, Chewie, and Lando, three of the most integral people in Star Wars. But just, the other characters, just a seedier side of life in the Star Wars universe. We got a glimpse of it in A New Hope. We got a glimpse of it in Return of the Jedi, and a bit of it in Episode 2, and a little bit of it in Rogue One. And it'd be cool to see a movie kind of immersed in that underground gangster kind of feel that they're clearly going for.
I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. I'm worried about one thing in particular, and that is where this movie takes place in regards to A New Hope, because we have A New Hope, and then we jump to Empire Strikes Back, and one of the very first things Lando says to Han Solo is, "What did you do to my ship?" This seems like it's about 20 years prior to that moment on Bespin, and I'm all like, really, Lando? You're the fucking, like, commissioner of Cloud City. Do you really give a fuck about that ship right now? I don't know. It's just weird. I hope maybe Han doesn't get the Falcon at the end of this movie. That's not me saying I need a sequel where they be like, all right, now it is your ship. I don't know. There's a lot there that just kind of like confounds me within the Star Wars proper universe. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh, my best guess is it takes place about 10 years before A New Hope.
Wow. I hope it's 20 years. I hope it's 15 years at least. 10 years is too close.
It can't be 20 years because the Empire is in full effect. 15 years is more likely, but Harrison Ford was about 35 when Star Wars came out in 77. And this, I don't know how old this new dude is, but he looks about 25. You know, yeah. He certainly doesn't look 20. So that's just my best guess is about 10 years.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I do see that point. I mean, well, we won't know for another month when that movie comes out and we all go see it and we all say yay or nay, and that's going to be a fun, intriguing review because, as y'all all know, we particularly didn't feel The Last Jedi was an awesome Star Wars movie, and I know a lot of people love that movie, but I'm not so much on the side of loving that movie, and I know Matt didn't even put it on his list for best of 2017. So
it didn't make my best of list, but there was a lot of good movies that came out last year. So and this year is turning up to be even better than last year. So if the year keeps going the way it has been, then Star Wars probably won't end up on my best of list at the end of this year either.
I'll say. I mean, I know how much you enjoyed Pacific Rim Uprising, so. Real quick, did you by any chance happen to catch Ready Player One yet?
Nope.
Dude, come on, man. Listen.
I can't just convince someone to pay for me to go, because none of my friends really want it. The friends I have who have seen it, or who wanted to see it, have seen it, and the ones that are on the fence like me have the same mindset. It's like, oh, if somebody pays for me, then I'll go. So they can't very well pay for me if I'm paying for them to go see it.
Listen, you take a walk to the theater on a $6 Tuesday, you go see the movie for $6, and then you get it over with, and then you can freaking rant and rave about the awesomeness that is, spoiler alert, MECHAGODZILLA! Come on, man! It was awesome! It just was such a freaking insane moment in the movie, and I'm not saying that that was the best moment of the movie. That movie is chock full of awesomeness. There are a lot of references, and I know me and you had a conversation over Messenger about how you feel like maybe it's because they're trying to put too much of the 80s into it. It was more than just the 80s. I mean, King Kong is in that movie, and that was the 1933 version of Kong, just in a CG light, but that was definitely the 33 version of Kong. I'll go as far as one of my favorite, if not my favorite, in the whole entire movie, Easter egg was the original War of the Worlds spaceship laying in debris while the bad guys are having a conversation. It's right there, that original 56 movie. The spaceship is laying there. It's making that noise that I love. The antenna eye is moving back and forth, but it's just crashed. It's there. I love that. Like, to me, that was something that doesn't get enough attention as far as Easter eggs go, but I thought that was the best one because of my love for War of the Worlds. MECHAGODZILLA absolutely dominated when he jumped on the screen. And honestly, a lot of people have a weird feeling about Spielberg. I will say this. It is a typical Steven Spielberg movie where there's, cool action, and there's some stakes, but ultimately it's a happy ending. But it's really done well. It's one of my favorite Spielberg movies of all time. I'm not lying. It's not because of all the eye candy we get. It was a very well done movie, and man, I absolutely love it. And I can't recommend that movie enough. I'm just saying, $6 Tuesday, Matt. Let's go. I mean, come on.
You know, if since from the trailers it looks identical to Spy Kids 3D with references. If there's a Spy Kids 3D reference in it, then I'll go see it. How about that?
You know, there's gonna come a time. There's gonna come a point in time where me and you will be in the same place at the same time, right? We're not the same person, so we won't cancel each other out. But the fact of the matter is this: I will absolutely make you watch this movie, and you will see the light. You will see the light. Well,
you have a lot of anime and horror movies and Evangelion to watch, so, I guess if I can get you to even watch half of that list I've given you, I guess it's worth me suffering through one movie.
It's not a suffering. I'm telling you, it's not. Trust me, it's not going to be like Jurassic World. I guarantee you that. Although the T-Rex is in the movie, I'm just saying. Anyhow, let's jump on to the next subject. This one, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't know, when we first started the G Show podcast, I think the first podcast we did was the Batman Superman review.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about comic books, and we really was diving in depth into more DC. We're both DC fanboys, right? Not taking away nothing from Marvel. By the way, I'm reading that Thor run where it's Lady Thor. I'm reading that now. And mind you, that thing came out like 3 years ago. That is a phenomenal story, Jason Aaron. Thank you. Holy shit. But anyhow, that being said, our very first podcast had to do with comic book movies. Matt and myself, we talked in depth about them. And again, it was mostly DC. This past week, there was an image that surfaced on the internet that is not being denied. And I don't think it could be because, it's so accurate, yet not accurate. And it was the depiction, the pictures of Raven, Beast Boy, and Starfire in the TNT or TBS's...
I think it's the future DC streaming network.
It's not coming on TNT or TBS?
No, that was the scrapped pilot they were going to do a while ago, but I think since DC is launching their own streaming service, they're putting it on there with Young Justice Season 3.
Time out. So what you're telling me then, what is this image? Is this an image from that show or the scrapped pilot?
I believe it's an image from the Titans show, the new one, the one that's going to be actually being made.
Oh my God, have mercy on our souls. Listen, I've seen some pretty bad shit in my times, but this, especially in this day and age, and in the world we live in now, when you could put the TV on and watch superhero shows, whether it be Netflix or the CW or ABC or even Fox with Gotham, the fact of the matter is this picture was a travesty. This is absolutely terrifying. I hated each and every one of these character pictures. Oh, look, I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't make any damn sense. It doesn't. And the Beast Boy's green hair killed me. But holy shit, what the fuck was with Starfire? And I'm not taking nothing away from the actress. I think it was a bad shot, a bad, angle that they caught her in. But the hair and that dress screams fucking prostitute. It screams prostitute. It does not scream Starfire. And that is freaking me the fuck out. It makes me nervous and upset and disgusted all at the same time because I do want to see this, but if this is what they're giving us, what the fuck are we in for? Oh God, Matt.
Yeah, I'm pretty torn about it. Like, one, it looks fucking awful. Like all of them. Raven looks okay because it's kind of hard to get Raven wrong. Really, you just get a pale girl with dark hair and put a hood on her. But Beast Boy and Starfire look fucking terrible. But to be fair, these aren't official images. It's not, nothing with like After Effects or, any CG that they're putting on these people. Because we have seen 2 official images from this, one of being Robin and the other being Hawk and Dove. And they both looked fantastic.
Right.
And those were like official images, from like a photo shoot and stuff. These were just, somebody on the crew got lucky and sold them to, a tabloid site or something. So I can't judge it too harshly, but like, god damn, that does not look good.
No. Oh, God, no. And it's scary because when is this CW app launching or this WB app launching? Disney got their app launching soon. There's so many things going on.
I think Marvel has their own, too, coming out. Possibly. I don't know how true it is.
I don't know if Marvel's going to do it. I think they're going to fall under the Disney banner. I would actually like Marvel to do their own, because then if they want to pull their shows off of Netflix, and I just started watching Punisher like last week, and I'm in love with this show. If they wanted to do that, then it would fit, in my personal opinion, better in a Marvel app than it would in the Disney app. Because, I mean, let's be for real. We all know what Disney is. And from what I've heard, we're getting like a live-action Lady and the Tramp movie that's going to open on that Disney streaming service, as well as like a ton of other Disney-related things. We'll probably get Marvel cartoons, which I'm not mad at. We'll get Avengers, Spider-Man, Black Panther, I hope. I'm not mad at none of that. But shows like anything on Netflix that has the Marvel banner, that's a hard sell for a Disney show. I mean, Disney just doesn't do things like that, so I'm worried about it.
To be fair, we still don't know if the Netflix shows are going to end up on the Disney streaming site, because Netflix owns those. They put up the money for those. They're theirs, more or less. Just Disney shelled out the money Netflix shelled out the money to Disney to let them use the characters.
That's true. That is true. So, in that regard, hopefully they're safe. What I do and what I will say is something we haven't touched on because we haven't been here for a minute, is the Jon Favreau Star Wars live action show definitely is going to show up on that app. And I, for one, am extremely excited. Extremely excited. Especially because I've seen how Rebels ended G95. I've watched Star Wars Rebel in its entirety. And let me tell you something, my brother in arms, when it comes to the Force. That show is a Star Wars fan's wet dream. Just giving that to you right there like that. When you watch it, you're going to understand what I mean.
When I get there.
We're going to have to watch fucking Ready Player One and the entire freaking Rebel Season 3 when you get here. Jesus.
One of those things I'm not upset about.
Well, that's true too, yeah. Now, you can never be upset about something you can geek out over with a friend, and that's the best part about it.
Well, I would have watched it, but I'd have to watch Rebels on my laptop, and I fucking hate doing that. So I just don't get around to it. Really, like I don't watch a lot of shows that like I can't put on my TV, basically, just because it's not as good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. Well, without spoiling anything, all I'm going to say is this season, especially this final half of season, whatever what this was, of Rebels, really went to places I did not... Nobody saw coming. Nobody. They did things that expanded on the mythology of Star Wars that I absolutely loved. and also gave me hope for the future of Star Wars, the cinematic universe. If you've seen it and you know how I feel about The Last Jedi, then you might understand what I'm saying without spoiling nothing. But I will say, wow, there were things that happened that, you saw coming, and then there was a lot of things that happened that you were like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming at all. But it was done so well and so believable, and yeah, I could totally see how all of this happened and not fuck with anything going forward. It was perfect. It made sense. And man, I'll tell you, I'm excited for what comes next. I'm really excited for what comes next in terms of Star Wars animation. So Dave Filoni, thumbs up, my brother. You did a fucking phenomenal job there. To think everybody hated him for that stupid Clone Wars cartoon. The movie, remember Clone Wars movie, which is official canon?
Mm-hmm.
God damn, there is 9 Star Wars movies, ladies and gentlemen, legit, because Clone Wars is official. That movie sucked.
Technically, just 6 episodes of the show that they released into a theater.
Technically, it's 6 episodes of the show that they released into the theater before the show came on television, thus making it a legit theatrical release of shit. Because that show is way better than that movie.
Well, it's they made that movie to be episodes in the show, and then just somebody decided like, hey, let's string these 2 arcs together and put them in a movie.
Yeah,
George all things considered, it's not a bad arc. It's Clone Wars had better ones, but they also had a lot worse ones.
It's not a bad arc. You're absolutely right. It's just a bad movie. But I agree. If they would have just said, all right, here's the thing. And I think they could have gotten away with that. I think they could have absolutely gotten away with not doing a movie, a theatrical release, and just doing, like, let's say, a television movie for Cartoon Network to promote Clone Wars. And, hey, this is what's coming. And I think that might have been the better bet, instead of throwing it out there and for the promotion, the money it costs to promote the movie and get it into theaters. It didn't work. But, that's just my 2 cents and my love for Star Wars going at it. Don't worry, people. We'll get to Godzilla real soon. Real soon. But, yes, anyhow, that all on an aside note. I don't think and there's a lot of things we haven't touched on in Geek News. The Meg trailer, dude. What did you think?
The movie does look good. I'm more excited for my friend who is afraid of open water and the ocean and sharks. I'm more excited to watch his reaction to the movie than I am for the actual movie.
Oh, come on. That's funny, though. That is funny.
No, I mean, the movie does look good. It looks better than I thought because I just saw the trailer the other day, and it looks way better than I thought. But I'm still more excited for his reaction than the actual movie. Like, when we're in the theater, I'm going to be more looking at him than I am going to be at the screen. And I'm okay with that.
I got you. I'm excited. I can't lie. This trailer, I mean, it's, kind of run of the middle. It didn't really do any gangbusters in my brain. But again, a giant creature, and it doesn't seem to be taking itself seriously. I'm all for this. So far, 2018 has been, in my book, a success when it comes to giant monsters. Now, don't get me wrong. We have our opinions on Pacific Rim, okay? I liked it, but it definitely wasn't, it didn't blow my mind. MECHAGODZILLA and Ready Player One, Iron Giant and Ready Player One, that was fucking cool. Those things really worked, and it really hyped me up. Like, what? So I'm looking forward to Meg. I am looking forward to Meg because it looks like it's going to be a fun time. Maybe not as fun as what I'm right now considering one of the greatest video game movies to date. And that, my dear friend, is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Rampage. Let's get into this review right now. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing to spoil about this movie, but I'm gonna just say spoilers just in case you didn't see it yet and want to see it. There's certain things that happen that you probably want to see for yourself. But yeah, I mean, this isn't like a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie where it's like, I can't believe you told me that. This is just a fucking run-of-the-mill, crazy fun movie, and we're gonna review it. So right now, again, spoilers, even though there's really no reason for it, but spoilers anyway. We're gonna talk about this movie. I already started off. I love this movie. I really fucking love this movie. Right now, this might be my second favorite movie of 2018 after Black Panther. And the only reason why I say that is because I had such a fun time with the ridiculousness and the way it didn't take itself seriously. It was there. It was like, yes, you go to the movies to drink soda and eat popcorn, and this is that movie. And then it was giant monsters in it. And it was based off a video game I used to play as a kid, where I used to pretend I was King Kong and Godzilla. And it worked on many, many, many levels for me. Matt, what about you?
I went into the theater not expecting anything. I'm pretty sure we talked about this before. I said that I wasn't expecting it to be good. And I walked out thinking, this is exactly what Godzilla 2014 should have been.
There we go.
The movie, Rampage, was fucking amazing. I absolutely loved it. Right from the get-go, with the chick in space with the mutated rat.
Oh my god.
I thought to myself, like, wow, I could have watched a whole movie about that. So yeah. I'm interested in where this is gonna go.
That was the Cloverfield paradox right there. That was the Cloverfield paradox right there.
Yeah, basically. And then immediately after that, we got a heart-to-heart with The Rock and George, and I'm like, all right, I'm fucking sold. I'm sold. And I just let the movie just take me wherever the fuck it was gonna go, and I was along for the whole ride. People have been saying this is just like a dumb, mindless movie, and I'm sure it doesn't really have like a real point or anything to poignant to say about society or the world or anything like that. It touches on poaching. I think that's a unique spin, but it's a movie that has like a lot of heart. You really feel for the bond between The Rock and George, and like shit was pretty emotional. I was fully invested, and not once did I think, this is ridiculous. I didn't find myself thinking the entire movie, this is unbelievable in any regard. Except for, the end when The Rock is just surviving being tossed around a destroyed cityscape with broken glass and smashed up concrete and rebar, and him coming out without a scratch. Also, while having a bullet wound. That was the most unbelievable part. But the rest was so, like, I was just along for the whole ride.
I 100% agree with you. And I something you mentioned, like this movie. Yeah, I'm not looking for some poignant, twist of fate to make me think about the world. This is not that movie, and it never, ever, ever made itself out to be. And that's what I love. I will not tolerate you talking about G14 the way you will. That movie's still a perfect movie in my eyes, but that's neither here nor there, because you love Shin Godzilla and I don't. I love G14 and you don't, and that's the beauty of it all. But we can both come together and say Rampage is exactly what it needed to be. Like, this is what, for instance, Independence Day Resurgence was. Like, and it's better. It's better. It's way better. But it's like Independence Day Resurgence, like, we didn't go in thinking we're going to get this mind-blowing epic saga thing. It just did that for us. It just became this epic, crazy, stupid movie at the end where fucking Jeff Goldblum is driving a school bus in the Nevada desert with a fucking giant alien queen with a machine gun chasing him. Yes, please, more, thank you. That's what Rampage was. Rampage was that. And, you know, the heart of this movie was The Rock's relationship with George. I fucking loved it. I bought into that completely, like you said. I kept buying into everything they were throwing at us. And I've watched a ton of reviews after I've seen the movie. I've watched a ton of reviews, and pretty much all of them were like, you know what? This was actually really good. But there was this and that and that. You know what? I never felt that for anything. I never had a but moment in this movie. Never. The Rock running around saying, you know what? You brought that up. Yeah, I kind of get it. But in my head, The Rock's a goddamn superhero, so it doesn't matter. The Rock should be able to do that, right? Because that's The Rock. I've seen things about the villains in the movie, the brother and the sister.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this movie does not need to get deep, so they work perfectly for me as these just two stale fucking villains. He's afraid.
If I can counter that,
yeah, go ahead.
They were really bland. They were just too mustache twisty evil. And when you have like a very unusually fleshed out character with The Rock, you know, he was a very dynamic character. He had a, you know, well done, well thought out backstory, you know, and clear motivations and like a good relationship with the rest of the cast. You know, he was a very, you know, traditionally well-rounded character, and his scientist friend was kind of well-rounded out, and then Jeffrey Dean Morgan was just being Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
We'll get to him.
You know, he gets passed for because it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan. But the villains had nothing. They were just evil for the sake of being evil. Actually, only one of them was evil. The brother was just kind of dumb and didn't want to go to jail. And, you know, that did the movie a disservice by having, you know, you know, I'm a fan of both the actors that played the villains, but it did the movie a disservice to having, you know, all these really standout characters and then having these other two characters stand out in a bad way because they didn't fit in.
Okay, and I'm going to disagree with you there. I respect that, though, but I'm going to disagree because I don't think you need... This movie ain't about villains. The end of the day, this movie is about the monsters destroying shit. I'm going to tell you something. You know why, for me, those villains worked? Because, yes, they were not these villains where you would think like some diabolical scheming motherfuckers. They were absolutely the mustache twirling Boris and Natasha that everybody likes to throw out there. I'm going to tell you why those villains worked for me. Because those villains were not taken seriously in the cusp of this movie. And the reason I say that is because in that office, the Rampage video game is there. Now, let me just tell you something. You talk about meta, and I still don't know what the fuck that means. But I thought that was the most meta thing I've seen on screen in years. The Rampage video game is in their office. We're not supposed to take them seriously. They're just a bunch of goofballs, okay? She's very smart. He's very scared. I like that. It did not need to do anything more than, you know what I mean? Like, it really, for me, did not need to do anything else. Their motivations were there. Money. We make this, whatever the hell it is, this DNA thing, and we see where we can take it, and that's the bottom line. I was 100% okay with how bland they were because they did not need to be there, and the fact that they put the Rampage video game system, the arcade cabinet, in their office just went to show the creators weren't taking them serious. So I think that for me, it balanced. It really worked for me. I didn't care about them. I didn't need to care about them because what I was going to care about was the relationship with George and The Rock and how everything plays out later on. So yeah, well, I understand the concerns, and I do. I understand some of those concerns. For me, it didn't bother me one bit. It's not like Snoke. It's not like Snoke. You fucked me over with Snoke. These people didn't even, they didn't even care about those people. And that Rampage cabinet, for me, was the reason why. I was like, we need bad guys. Here they are. Check it out. They got Rampage in the fucking room. I loved it.
See, I just don't think that a reference in the background is enough to give them a pass. Like, it's not a bad enough thing for me to like really criticize the movie, but it's just something that knocked it down from a perfect 10 to like a 9.
No, I totally get you. I got you. I totally get you.
Yeah, like with as much thought and care as they put into the other characters, and then just throwing them by the side, and then getting like solid actors to play them too. It was just, it didn't work, and maybe the villains were the afterthought, or I don't know the reasoning. Is just have to just chalk it up to bad writing on their part. But it was enough for me to notice it.
I get you. I mean, we got together because we're fans of Godzilla. So a lot of the Showa Godzilla movies, there's some really cool villains. But I've always been of the mind that in a giant monster movie, the villains is the monsters that are going to be fought against. So the trailer made a very good depiction of George being the hero and fighting off Ralph and Lizzie, the wolf and alligator mutation. So to me, that's where that was my focus was more. Those are the bad guys, and I want to see how that gets handled. But going back to like the human characters, Jeffrey D. Morgan. I've seen a lot of people talk about Jeffrey D. Morgan like he phoned it in. Let me tell you something. That man comes on screen and did like, for me, he was like the best thing in that movie. Like, I fucking loved his character and I was scared. His character, I was scared for. I thought he was going to die in the plane. And I was so happy they didn't do that because I absolutely loved his Wild West gunslinger cowboy attitude about things and his interactions with The Rock and just how his character actually had the best arc of the movie. Yeah, I absolutely love this. So I'm sitting there, and again, we're not movie reviewers. We don't get paid to do that. We just have fun with these flicks, right? Whether we loved them or we hated them. We just have fun talking about them because we both enjoy the genre. So I'm watching all like the reviewers and shit. They were wrong when they were talking about the villains, like you were, and then they were also sorry, I can't help it. I got to throw that in there. And again, they were talking about Jeffrey Dean Morgan like he was a waste, and I'm like, no, he wasn't. He was actually fucking spot on. He was perfect. I loved it. I had so much fun with his character, and in all honesty, when I saw him with The Rock for the first time, the only thing that was going through my mind was DC, make it happen, because there you have Black Adam. And there you have motherfucking Thomas Wayne Batman. So let's make this Flashpoint movie happen. Let's just do it. You don't have the continuity, anything. Just make it happen. And then Joe Manganiello was in the fucking movie. There's your Deathstroke. Stop the games. Put it into motion. Anyhow, what were your thoughts on Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
I mean, I guess I can see how people would say he phoned it in if they only know him from The Walking Dead. But I mean, that's just kind of who he is. He's a character actor, more or less. He's just getting a lot more recognition because he's on one of the biggest shows on TV. That's just kind of how he plays all of his roles. I mean, The Rock is essentially a character actor too, and Kevin Hart, and they're just bigger names, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having like a style or being cast in a certain type of role. And that's a type of role that Jeffrey Dean Morgan thrives in, as the charming but kind of shitty character, the lovable asshole. And there's, that's what he does best. That's why he gets these roles. That's why he got chosen for Negan. Because it's what he's good at, and he was fucking good at it in Rampage.
He sure was, and I fucking loved him in it. So let's talk real quick. Let's just get right into it. Let's get with the monsters. Let's get to what we really went to see this movie for. the giant monsters. We have already talked about The Rock and George's relationship. I thought it was fantastic the way they set it up. The Rock is really coming to his own as far as an actor is concerned. He's really done his damn thing as an actor, and I totally believe that this was a dude who knew sign language to talk to a gorilla. You know, I bought into that. I was happy with that. Everything else, like the wolf, for instance, Ralph. I really enjoyed that sequence in the woods with Joe Manganiello's character and his little squadron going to basically take care of business. And even Lizzie, like the little bit we seen of Lizzie before Lizzie hits Chicago, I dug the shit out of. So, and it wasn't much. So you basically just saw her in the water, like swimming around. But I dug it. I love the idea of the Rampage aspect, which was the villains having the antenna, making the monsters go crazy to come to shut the antenna off. And I love that. I thought it was so good. I was like, yeah, why not? It's a video game movie, and why would these things just be climbing buildings and breaking them down? Because of that, it makes sense. It works in this movie. The monsters in the city was done well. Ralph in the fucking forest killing all the... That's one thing I want to touch on too, real quick. This movie was violent as shit. When this movie starts off, there's like a dude with no eyeball in the space station.
There's like a severed hand just floating around.
Holy shit, dude. It's just like, whoa, what are we in for? And it's like that throughout the whole movie. Like, it does. There's some very violent scenes. Like, some really hardcore shit for a PG movie. Was this PG or PG? PG-13. But even still, it was like, holy shit, man. Like, they really went for the gusto with this. And I appreciate it because, again, this is a movie you take the whole family to see. You know what I'm saying? You don't leave anybody out. It's not a scary movie. It's not a vulgar movie. It's violent, yeah, but it's giant monsters and shit. But god damn, the body count in this movie is viciously well done.
Just the wanton destruction in the city. Think of the thousands of innocent people that just got fucking murdered. And it was crazy. It was like, they made a point to say, they evacuated the city, but they had like all of 5 minutes to evacuate the city. You never, in a lot of these movies, they take care not to show innocent people on the street or people in cars, or, Pacific Rim had the bunkers underground in Tokyo and Sydney. Godzilla, there was like several hours of notice to get everybody evacuated from San Francisco, and you see people in bunkers. But this, they just like, oh yeah, the city's starting to be evacuated. Oh, monsters are fucking here and they're fucking killing people.
It's a good thing those monsters weren't as big as Godzilla, or the Pacific Rim kaiju.
But yeah, seriously, there's some legitimate gore in this movie. There's actual gore with Ralph in the woods and the mercenaries. There's, all surprising amount of gore when the chunk of building drops on the evil brother.
Oh, wow, that was actually really good.
Yeah. And that's what me and all of my friends said as we walked out of the movie. It's like, Jesus Christ, this was a really violent movie. There's a lot of dead people. And it's kind of refreshing to see, legitimate consequences with the destruction in these movies. Even though, if at the end George is still helping people and all is forgiven and forgotten, even though he was responsible for like a third of that body count. But whatever.
I don't know if George is responsible for a third of the body count. Maybe of the military, because George and Ralph really wrecked it. No pun intended. But
no, George was taking ample part in destroying the city too.
Oh, listen, he threw a Dave and Buster sign and shit. Maybe he punched a couple of buildings, but that was about it.
Throwing cars.
Okay, yeah, he threw cars and he was squashing tanks and shit. It felt like more he was attacking that which was attacking him. That's what I was getting.
He had not taken the vaccine yet. He was just as evil and messed up as Ralph.
That's
There's
true.
no getting around it.
No, there's not. I can't even cover for George. But I will say that when they do destroy the tower, I mean, and think about it. And again, we got to juxtapose to the video game real quick. One of the fun things about the video game, at least for me, was the fact that the idea that as I'm punching these buildings to destroy them, I'd punch a side of the building, a window or something, and there, bam, there's like a lady taking a bath. And then you could scoop the lady up and eat her. And it was like, all right. Again, this is the 80s. It's like, yeah, that's fun. Let me do that. And they actually went ahead and they did something like Ralph was eating pretty much the black ops in the forest. But then when when the evil sister got her comeuppance, she fell right into George's mouth. Matter of fact, he ate her. He picked her up and ate her. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little nod to the game. They eat people. I'm okay with that. And because she was the bad guy, it was deserved. It was well deserved for her, at least. But real quick, like before we finish this off, we have to the monster action itself. Once they destroy Sears Tower and they bring down the antennas, and we don't even get to see it, but the rocket ministers the drug to make George remember who he is, basically. From that point on, man, that was some really good giant monster action. Like, they were fucking each other up, and it was done so well where this is where I started sitting there and I'm saying to myself, oh my God, Pacific Rim was doing this. They really did, but not as well. Not as well. Pacific Rim was overshadowed by what they were able to do with these 3 video game monsters, okay? I was blown away. I fucking absolutely loved everything. Like, I felt every time George went in, I was like, George, you clench your ass, you hold, like, I was like worried. Oh my God. Because it was Ralph first, then Lizzie came into the picture, and it was like, what the fuck's going on? And then, of course, I'll let you tell the story with Lizzie and Ralph. Go ahead.
Well, Lizzie just bites Ralph's head off pretty violently.
The kiss of death.
Yeah. That was another kind of complaint, is I wish we got more action with Ralph. I mean, we got lots of him destroying stuff, but not a lot of him fighting. You know, he was taken out pretty quickly when Lizzie came to the picture. There was not a lot of, all 3 of them fighting, and that was kind of disappointing. I'm sure, that was done for logistics reasons, budget reasons, or whatever, but it was disappointing, because I really liked Ralph. He was pretty cool. But you're totally right. It was overshadowed, or Pacific Rim was overshadowed by this, and that's kind of why I feel like 2014 Godzilla was also overshadowed greatly, was because they did it in the dark and they did it in the rain. They constantly cut away from the monster action to watch a horrified human looking on.
There's no rain. There's no rain in 2014. There's no rain. Stop the shit.
Oh, there's plenty of rain in Hawaii.
There's no rain in Hawaii. Pay attention. None.
Okay. It's been a while since I watched that, and it's going to be a while longer till I rewatch it. But yeah, it's they didn't cut away. You can't take that away from me. G14 cut away too fucking much. Anyway, I got riled up there.
No, it's fine. I like that. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate it.
This is more akin to Kong Skull Island. I actually think they might have done it better than Kong Skull Island.
They did it way better than Kong Skull Island. Believe you me.
The action was visceral. The monsters are small enough to where they can use the buildings to bounce off of them instead of just falling through them. And that was cool to see. Being the tallest incarnation of Godzilla or Kong isn't always necessarily the coolest. I mean, yeah, it's having Godzilla that's almost bigger than the fucking planet is cool, but there's not a lot you can do to interact with the environment.
Thank God, anime.
And seeing that monsters interact with the environment is cool. And some of those shots are straight out of the game,
Yes.
and it's awesome. It's just brings out the 9-year-old in me that was playing Rampage and just gets me all excited.
I'll tell you, man, when Lizzie bites Ralph's head off, and I was like, that is the kiss of death in this movie right there. It absolutely works for me. I disagree with you with the Godzilla comparisons, but I do see what you're saying. The cutaways in Godzilla really made a lot of people angry. I get it. But for me, Godzilla is more of a household name than any one of these three, Rampage monsters. So I thought, for me personally, you could get away with that a bit. Even though, yeah, man, it was one or two things that was like, come on, man. Anyhow, it's not what we're talking about. It was Rampage. Everything else you said, spot on. Like, I absolutely loved it. Them being able to bounce off the buildings and just play in that environment works because that is the video game. They are not taller than a skyscraper. So, yes, you are able to do these things, and it works so well. And then, I mean, just the fights were so vicious between the creatures. And I might disagree with you a bit with the Ralph thing. I thought he had a good enough amount of screen time, especially at the end. It was like 3-4 minutes before he got his head bit off. I was okay with that. I was perfectly okay with that. But that, damn, man, that Lizzie and George fight, like, seriously? Woo! That was some good shit, man. I was like at the edge of the seat, just popping the popcorn, like, wow, what's gonna happen? Like, it was good. It was well played. There's a joke that was set up at the beginning of the movie that had a decent payoff, and if you didn't see it coming, you don't know movies. But I told my brother, I nudged him, I said, watch, it's not what he is. Trust me, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that payoff right now. Sure shit, it happened. Even though it's a spoiler review, I'm not going to say what that was. But I absolutely loved it. I loved the fact that George got his ass kicked by Lizzie up until the moment. And yeah, man, I'll tell you, dude, seriously, I mean, I don't know what this movie made, but I can only pray that it makes enough I don't know if they would make a sequel, but I would absolutely not be opposed to a sequel for Rampage because it was fun. It did its job. It did not take itself seriously, and on that level, it works on so many levels. This is definitely one of the best, if not the second best, video game movie of all time.
The best being
Mortal Kombat!
I thought you were going to say that Trash is the best.
Mortal Kombat. What'd you say?
I thought you were going to say that Trash was the best.
Mortal Kombat is the best. What are you talking about? Mortal Kombat is not trash. Annihilation is trash. Mortal Kombat is not trash. Test your... Yo, that shit got everything going for it. Shut up, man. Got the best soundtrack in video game movie history, son. God damn. Make me mad.
Though I do think that this is possibly the best, next to maybe another video game movie starring The Rock that you might have forgotten about called Doom.
Doom! Tucker, shut the fuck up! That was one of The Rock's worst movies ever, man.
Oh, I love Doom.
I love Doom too. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Doom, but it's terrible. It is a terrible. Look, if you compare Doom and Rampage, seriously, it's night and day, dude.
Oh yeah, obviously Rampage is a superior movie, but I stand behind Doom. That is a damn good film.
It's a fun film.
Anybody's else.
It is a fun film. I can't lie. I did enjoy Doom, and I'm a fan. I mean, I own the movie, so yeah, I'm a total fan. But no. Mortal Kombat is the best fucking video game movie to date right now. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. But Rampage, I'll tell you something. I'm going to see that movie a couple more times, and it might just so happen to edge it out. Because A, giant monsters, and B, The Rock. I'm just saying. This is just my bag, baby. Yeah. So, all right. So, Matt, before we wrap this up, what's your final verdict on this movie?
9 out of 10. I was this fucking close. I just so close to seeing it on the IMAX screen, the largest IMAX screen in the state, actually. But we sort of decided to get hit with the biggest snowstorm we've had in a very long time, so couldn't do that. Had to go to the local theater, and it was a terrifying drive, but we made it. Got some cool monster action, and then I've been stuck in my house for the last couple days.
I am so sorry for you. I was swimming actually today, so there you go. Yeah, I get the middle finger from my man G95. I'm gonna also, you know what, man? I might actually, 9 out of 10. Look, I gave Black Panther a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love that movie, and I still stand behind that. I absolutely love that movie. One of my favorite movies in fucking recent history. But Rampage really brought forth the meaning of giant monster action that I fucking fell in love with when I was a little kid. And the fact that it was a video game that I played when I was a little kid, getting to see this shit now in almost my 4th decade of life, I do not hate this movie. 9 out of 10 it is. And the only reason why I say 9 out of 10 is just because it's not a good movie in that regard. But it does enough for me to make me fucking love it. So, Jesus, I mean, fuck, we didn't even, ladies and gentlemen, we did do a Ready Player One review. Unfortunately, on my end, I fucked that up. I forgot to hit record. Because it was really late, and it was a Saturday night, and it was me and JR. So, JR, if you're listening, I'm sorry. We need to do that again on another podcast. Don't worry, we'll get to that. But yeah, that'll do it. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, next week is God of War for the PlayStation. I'm not going to, of course, do a review on that because we don't do video game reviews here, and I didn't pre-order it because I'm still playing Red Dead Redemption. But the following week, motherfucker, here we go. 10 years in the making. Matt, are you ready?
I am still ready.
I got my tickets. He's got his tickets. Ladies and gentlemen, April 27th, Avengers Infinity War is coming out. It is the 10-year culmination of what the fuck we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what we wanted the DC Cinematic Universe to be, but it wasn't. We are getting it finally, and place your fucking bets. Matt, who dies?
All the good ones.
I agree. All the good ones. Take it what you may. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this episode of The Geek Out. I am G1. We are out of here. Sayonara.